I want to take a moment to, before we engage in this part of the service that is our worship part of the service, where we come together as a community in sharing in prayers and blessings. I want to talk about a very challenging topic. I want to talk about God. I'm sorry. God is a very interesting word, a very challenging word for a lot of us. It's interesting because it's a very short word. It's 3 letters. You could barely have any word shorter than that. Yet it is a word that has come to be attached to so much baggage. Some of us have rejected whatever we've attached to those 3 letters. We've decided that God was not for us. And I am the first one to say one of my favorite phrases is that the God you do not believe in doesn't exist. I know it's kind of weird to hear a rabbi say something like that, but it's true. The God you do not believe in doesn't exist. I don't think God is a matter of belief, because something we believe in is something that is outside of ourselves. If there is anything to believe in, it is something that is not here, that is not part of who I am. It's an object. And whether we decide to believe in that object, that entity, that idea or not, we would fall on one side of the argument or the other. I believe that true spirituality is the end of belief. True spirituality is the end of belief. Why? Because true spirituality helps us to recognize that there is no thing to be believed in. There is no entity outside of ourselves to which we have to pledge allegiance, to which we have to cajole, persuade, manipulate, bribe. Right? Anything that is outside of ourselves is limited. How can we have a God that is outside of anything? To me, that is a limiting definition of God. If God is, then God is. And there's no is-ing that is outside of God is-ing. Anything that we place outside of God is in contradiction in terms. What kind of God is a God that only exists over there and not over here? Only exists outside and not inside? What kind of a God is that? It's not a God. That God, the outside figure, the white male, bearded, old guy in the sky, that you don't believe in, I don't believe in either. It doesn't exist. It is a figment of our imagination. It is a concept, an idea. It is not reality. The divinity that we embrace is that which has been communicated and taught through millennia in our tradition, and specifically by the Hasidic tradition of 300 years ago. And the Hasidic masters of Poland, of Lithuania, of Ukraine have told us through their writings, through their preaching, that the divine is that which awakens within, without, left, right, up and down, everywhere and in everything and everyone and everywhere and every when. That there is nothing but that which is. And actually, they didn't make it up. They found it in the Torah, in the book of Deuteronomy. Ein od milvado, there is nothing but that which is. Deuteronomy, some book written 300,000 years ago. Already mystics understood the nature of being, the nature of life. So in a moment we'll come together to read these words. We'll come to read, for example, the first phrase of the Barchu. You can look at it as I do in the translation. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, bless the eternal, the one who is blessing. Well, that's a not exact translation of the Hebrew. Because from this part of our understanding, there's a little word here, the word et. The word et in Hebrew means with. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. It says to us, bless with the divine being that is an expression of blessing. The divine being manifests as blessing in the moment that we speak words of blessing. That's how the divine manifests, because the divine manifests through us and as us, moment to moment. So if we say words of blessing, that is in fact how the divine manifests in that moment. So this sentence says, as you speak words of blessing, so does the divine manifest as blessing in this moment. And that's why we rise for the Barchu. Please rise. And as we manifest blessing in this world and in our lives, we say together, Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bless the Eternal, the one who is blessing. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Blessed is the Eternal, the one who is blessing eternally.
HaMevorach